I have been suffering with asthma since brother and his cats moved in. Should I leave and cut contact? After a streak of bad luck, brother and his 2 indoor cats moved in with me on a one-day notice. Our mom convinced me to let him stay at the house I've been renting from grandma until he can find a job and move out. I thought that she and my brother knew that I have cat allergies that trigger my asthma, have made arrangements for the cats to stay elsewhere until he got back on his feet. Note, the day before that, my ex brought me my outdoor cat to have full custody of. No problem. I broke out into hives within 15 minutes of getting to Bro's app to help him move, and told him and my mom that this is not a good idea. When I thought the moving truck was going to a storage unit, it ended up at my house. I went from having 0 asthma attacks for months to having 2 every single day, and it scares me. I also work from home on an established business line, so the dander is unavoidable. It seems to be getting worse, getting into the carpets and furniture. The cats fight while I'm tied up at work, especially last week during a meeting, while my brother is still asleep. I lose my appetite because the kitchen smells like a litter box despite him cleaning it every day. I've tried to talk with my mom and brother about this, but they keep blowing it off, telling me that I should just get an allergy shot and that mom would pay for it even though I don't have insurance right now. I shouldn't have to take allergy shots bi-weekly to feel comfortable in my own house. She could probably use that money to help him get a down payment on an apartment. I've tried asking my brother to put them in the garage with a heater, which turned into a full-blown argument, him saying that they would get cold and have separation anxiety. No one will take my bro and his cats in, and he doesn't want to live with mom, though I wish he did. I've tried talking to my grandmas about it. One says to tell my bro he has one day to do something about his cats or they're going to a shelter. The one I'm renting from is dealing with some health issues and says I'm welcome to stay at her place, though I wouldn't be able to work from there because of lack of internet and business line. My mom told me not to talk with any of my grandparents about this anymore. I feel like she is gaslighting me and is discounting what this situation is doing to my health. It could kill me faster than my brother's depression could kill him. She keeps insisting on coming over to clean, aka go through stuff, even though I'm vacuuming and mopping every damn day now. I'm so angry that we didn't talk about this well enough beforehand. I've never feel so disrespected in my life, and that maybe my relationship with her will never be the same. It's not the first time I feel like she's tricked me into a bad situation within the last few years. I've talked to both my supervisor and therapist about this, and they have no solutions. Part of me wants to just abandon ship and cut them off for good. Should I move out? Should I call APS? I keep the cats all out of my room and keep the furniture covered, but I'm still suffering and miserable. I know my brother is trying to get a job and move out soon, but I'm already at my wit's end and don't know what to do. I want my normal independent adult life back. Story 2. I very truly cannot stand my daughter. Do not get me wrong. I love her, she is my flesh and blood. I cannot stand being around her. She is trashy. Political opinions on Facebook, those my wife is born in December and is crazy, do not mess with her, or you'll find my body shirts bought for her boyfriend. Does not care if she looks bad or stinks in public. I'm not saying you have to be dressed to the nines to go to the grocery store, or even that you shouldn't wear pajamas, I mean visible stains, greasy hair, to go out to eat or clothes shopping. Claims she is so country and redneck. We raised her in a small town, but it isn't a rural one. Not that it would make a difference or that rural living is bad, just that she is not country or redneck. I went to visit her the other week. She lives a state away. Her house is filthy and doesn't look nice. She has the money to live a nice life and she chooses to live in squalor. This is not the girl I raised, and me and my husband cannot stand being around her, and it breaks my heart. She is not pleasant to talk to anymore. I'm sure some will ask if she is doing okay mentally. I've asked, and she says yes. She is not showing signs of depression from what I have seen. She has declined any help to clean up her home, not quite a hoard, but not clean or a home for anyone, and says she likes it how it is. When she visits us, she shows no respect for our space. Dirty dishes left about, her things strewn everywhere, eats everything from our pantry. I am not one to turn down food for my children even though they're grown-ups, but if you are visiting for a few days I shouldn't have to spend $200 just on food for you. That food was for all our kids who visited, not just her. I don't know why she changed this way. Her husband was redneck but not trashy and disrespectful like this when we met. They've both given up and I'm not sure why. I wish I could like my daughter, but I can't. I don't want to invite her for the holidays. She smells like cigarettes and beau. Comment. As someone who has anxiety attacks and general anxiety that leads to depression, mainly cause I hate asking for help, working on that, even with someone asking, I won't tell, cause I hate asking for help lol. It's part of the problem when having kids be independent. Sometimes kids take that to an extreme. I never learned to be independent, but I was taught to be independent. This means I feel like the burden falls on me to be independent, which means no asking for help about anything, and it takes a long time to undo that. I'm from Methville, KY, and true, I have seen some that don't pick at their skin and even some who still have great looking teeth, but just about every meth user I've seen in my hometown had that gray pallor, especially their neck for some reason. Had a good friend nearly lost to meth, who is doing so freaking fantastic now it's hard to believe. And even though she still did spray tans and spent time in tanning beds while using, she always had that grayish undertone. It's what I've learned to look for, that color and skinniness. Maybe there's some special poison they put in KY meth that does that? I'm so glad your friend is doing better. And yeah, that gray comes through here, too, but I've even seen them hold that off for longer than I'd expect. Could be it takes a while? People are probably doing meth quite a bit before we know. Bingo. If you're noticing physical changes in someone due to drugs, it's almost guaranteed they've been using for a solid while. They've probably made it far past the fun/honeymoon phase. As a former meth user, this makes me want to go back and look at pics of myself from that time, although I avoided cameras for the most part. It used to be 7%, but now it's 2%, with or without rehab. I too crawled out of that hole, and this past year I've been getting messages from friends who I never thought would get out, telling me they got out. Sober living really helps some folks take their lives back and develop a healthy routine. Destigmatize addiction. There is hope, we do recover. Story 3. I saw my dad cheat on my mom with a girl my age, and I can't keep this secret any longer. For some context, I have a very bad relationship with my mom. She basically mentally abused me all my life and never apologized for it. Now I'm 19 and I moved out of the house to go to college. I come by once in a while to see my siblings and my dad, with whom, on the contrary, I have a great relationship with. For example, he was the only one who supported me when I decided to study arts instead of medicine like my mom wanted me to. He was also here for me when I had some traumatic events recently. To only name a few. But about a week ago I saw something that completely destroyed the image I had of him. So last weekend I wanted to surprise my little sister before her birthday, so I came home without telling anyone. I still have the keys, so I didn't knock or ring and went straight into the house. I knew my mom was at work because her car wasn't here, but my dad's car was, so I was excited to see him again after several weeks. I arrived in the living room and heard some noise upstairs, so I went there hoping to see my dad. But the closer I was getting to the bedrooms, the more I realized that the noise I was hearing were actually female moanings. I was so embarrassed and first thought it was just him and my mom, but then I realized the voice actually sounded really young. It was not the voice of someone in their 40s. I hid in my sister's bedroom until they left. I quickly saw the girl, and yes, she did look very young. 18, I would say. Not less, I hope. When the house was empty, I went downstairs and saw my mom entered the house. After asking her where she was, at work, I realized what my dad was actually doing. To be honest, I don't really care about the cheating part. I think what disgusts me the most from him is this girl age. Like he is 51. How could he do that? And even though I don't really like my mom, I feel bad for her. This secret is getting heavy to carry. What should I do? Should I confront him first or tell my mom everything? Comment. Even if that's their arrangement, don't bring the other woman into the family home, no matter how fucked up the family is. Because this is exactly what can happen. What if one of his younger kids walked into the house? And I don't care how messed up his marriage might be, a 51-year-old regardless of gender fucking someone decades younger, a possible teenager, is gross. This is a very plausible explanation, like they could potentially be existing as roommates at this point and one is just waiting for the other to pull the trigger and initiate the divorce. As a person who has had toxic family relationships, you should confront your father. You may not realize your parents' true relationship. They may have an open relationship or be separated but living together. My friend's parents are in their 70s and had an open relationship for 20 plus years. I wouldn't just take him at his word, but I would talk to him first, then tell your mom. The fact that he did that in the house with someone so young would gross me out. I would worry about being blackmailed by him. I know that sounds wild, but there is a lot on the line when it comes to adultery. I've seen people throw their kids under the bus to protect themselves, and I often really question their sense of morality if they feel so confident in this lie. Depends on what you want to happen as the result. If you're on your dad's side, talk with him first. The girl may have looked young but wasn't, hopefully. If you're on your mom's side, tell her first and she'll have all the power in her hands and your father will likely get raked in the divorce. Choice is yours. But don't assume things that you didn't objectively see. The mind can misinterpret and manipulate things in assumptions. Good luck to you and your family. Since you claim mental abuse from your mother, I'd recommend having a chat with your father. He may be suffering at her hands as well. Your chat may be what he needs to get off his ass and divorce your mother. Tell your mom what you heard and saw. If she finds out on her own and finds out that you knew, it might damage your relationship with her forever. Edit. Now that I'm rereading the post again, I'm not sure if you have a relationship with her at all. However, if you do, I'd be careful cause she might lash out and abuse you further. Edit 2. If you do confront your dad and learn the truth, cheating aside, I'd make it clear how uncomfortable you are with his side chicks being your age range. It's hella gross. Sleeping with anyone under the age 25 when you're 30 plus is gross, end of story.